Hey, here's one. I haven't read the question, but I like to start. Eric Blake says, "Hey, Bill, I'm a relative newcomer to the lounge, but I've been a major fan for a long time." Thank you very much. "I'm the guy who sent you and Clavin the question about the politics of film noir. That was a great question on that show. I had some really brilliant, insightful, and very witty things to say about that, and Clavin basically nodded when I was talking. Anyway, my question is, some time ago you noted that anti-heroes like Clint Eastwood's Western characters were more interesting than marble monument types a la John Wayne. But more recently on NRA TV, you've mentioned the surge of on-screen anti-heroes as an example of problems in our current pop culture. So has your view of the value of anti-heroes changed as a whole, and if so, how?" It's a great question. Nice way to wrap up an evening show about talking largely about heroes. What I did not realize when I was condemning, well, let's take Clint Eastwood as a specific example. Let's take the Clint Eastwood characters. He's got a name. Somebody will tell me. Even though he's never named, it's the drifter or the man with no name, whatever. But essentially, throughout the spaghetti westerns, Clint played the same basic character. He's got a little thin cigar in his mouth, and he's got his hat and he squints, and it's the same guy in Fistful of Dollars and Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, and all the rest of it. Now, this guy is certainly not a hero. He's not a hero in the in the John Wayne version of the hero. So I had said that he's kind of an anti-hero. But that's not exactly true. And the reason I realized that that was a mistake is because if you think about it, nothing that I'm aware of that character did is destructive to the ideals that make America great. I think that's really it. In other words, he can be the kind of guy who would, break a bunch of laws, maybe gun down somebody. I don't remember seeing him gun down somebody in cold blood, because then he would be an anti-hero. But he was a non-heroic person who ended up being kind of the hero. And I wasn't able to see that. What he did not do was he didn't tear down America. He didn't tear down the government. He didn't do any of these things. As a matter of fact, let's go to the other anti-hero that Clint played so well. And I had a good chance to hear this from his own mouth. In a small group of people. It was another transformational moment for me. Let's talk about Dirty Harry. So Dirty Harry, is Dirty Harry an anti-hero? I might have said that he was a while ago, but he's clearly not. And once I heard Clint talk about Dirty Harry, I realized, well, actually, of course he's not an anti-hero. He is a hero. He's just an unheroic hero. He's not a marble monument hero. But when the man with no name, yeah, there you go. So what do I mean by that, and what did Clint mean by that? Well, Clint said when he made the first Dirty Harry movie, he was watching the news over the course of months or years, and he was so disgusted by the court system using technicalities to get murderers off. This was at the beginning, I want to say the beginning of the 70s, when this thing was starting to pick up steam. You misspelled his name on the search warrant, therefore the case is thrown out, therefore the murderer walks the streets and kills again. That's pretty much the kind of thing we're talking about. And Clint said he wanted to do a movie for the victims. He wanted to do a movie for the victims of crime. And since the system was no longer administering justice, he had to create a character who was at war with the system, which would make him an anti-hero, except it's the system that's corrupt. So he is, in fact, at war with a corrupt, unjust system, and he is, as a matter of fact, Dirty Harry is a fighter for justice. Now, Dirty Harry is not, as I said, a model monument kind of guy. He'll blow a guy's head clean off. But he won't blow an innocent person's head clean off. Dirty Harry understands who he's dealing with, and he doesn't need to be told what to look for. He knows criminals and murderers when he sees them. And he is administering the justice that is missing in society. So he is a hero. He's just not a heroic hero. He's in the traditional sense. He's not self-sacrificing, and he's not the guy in the white hat, and he doesn't insist on taking this person prisoner because that's the way we fight. He's not that guy at all. He's not a we can be better than this kind of guy. He's not a we should aspire to be like him kind of guy. He's not the kind of guy you want to hold up as a role model for your kids. He's kind of a psychopath, Dirty Harry. But he's a psychopath for justice. And he's on the side of justice and not on the side of the law. And that's a very important distinction, because the only reason that Dirty Harry exists is because justice and the law had diverged so much as a result of the progressives that you could no longer do both at the same time. You could no longer be a member of the system, the police force, and still see justice done. The rules of the game had changed so much and gotten so far away from justice that you had to make a decision, and the decision is, do you want to be law-abiding? Do you want to follow the policies and, sort of play by the book kind of thing? Or are you going to rebel against and essentially become a traitor to the police principles because you see that these principles have changed to the degree now where they're not only not administering justice, they're preventing justice. Was it Brewdaddy 111? No, who said that? Tiki Rocket, it's a great name, said Dirty Harry. No, that's not it either, about the tension between law and justice. This is the point I was just making. What was the line? Who was it? I just want to see who said something. It was like really good. Ohio Castle said Dirty Harry is a knight errant, a Ronin. That's exactly what he is. He's a knight. He's a knight errant. He is which meant a knight who is on a mission. If you tell, Galahad to find the Holy Grail, what you're basically doing is you're writing a hall pass for Galahad. He doesn't have to come to the court anymore. He's a knight errant. He's on an errand now, and he is basically going to do what he has to do until he accomplishes his mission or dies trying. So, yeah. So this is a really fun show, actually, talking about all these things. It's nice when, just by sheer randomness, things kind of tidy up and end that way. And what are we looking at here?